Yeah, so welcome back to the Richard Lewis Daily Show. This is going to be the eSports section where we're going to be looking at all the big things that are happening in eSports at the moment. Now, there's been a couple of stories and discussions going on, Sam. Where would you like to start? Because I got to be honest, there's definitely one I want to get off my chest perhaps more than any others.
Let's do that one first then. Let's go to the old what casters can't criticize players.
Yes, let's get into this. So this happened last night. Basically, there was an event that was going on. If I remember correctly, it was Northern Arena. And G2 were playing it out there. And, G2 have a player called Smiths. And Smiths is a player who, inarguably, is playing bad. There's just no argument about it. And we're gonna get into this. This is actually a measurable phenomenon. This is a measurable statistic, empirical, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is actually happening. Now, over the course of the broadcast, there were three things that were said which seem to have triggered all the pro players, triggered all of them so unbelievably hard that actually right now, and I know this to be true, they're in a Skype group that they use instead of having a union. They're actually now debating about whether or not they're going to start boycotting events based on if talent criticize them. That's absolutely true. That's how ridiculous it's got. And certainly this has happened before. A lot of these players like to make out that they are good sports and they can take it, but it's just cruel people who go too far. You know, Thorin always goes too far. Richard Lewis always goes too far. I mean, certainly me and Thorin weren't at this event. We didn't say anything about this event. We weren't the commentators, but it's we're the bad guys again somehow. There's about 4 threads on the front page of Reddit right now debating whether or not me and Duncan should have a job for something we didn't do. And now I'll tell you a story. When we were at DreamHack, we got messaged at one DreamHack where 2 large organizations had basically gone to DreamHack and said, Duncan's going too far, and we will not come to the rest of your tour if you continue to employ Duncan. These people are pieces of shit. And people don't know that this goes on. So just put that into perspective, that Duncan's brand of critique, which certainly you may think it goes too far on Twitter. I don't think I've ever seen him do anything in terms of saying a player is bad that I believe it goes too far. They're saying he can't have a job. It's us or them. And this is all based on hurting their feelings. That's all it's based on. Hurting their feelings. I mean, I've had the argument made to me today that I'm responsible for what esports fans do. So if I say Smiths is bad, he's actually really shit and he shouldn't be on G2 anymore. If you go out and start tweeting and harassing Smiths, I'm responsible for that. They believe this. These pro players believe this. They are among the most entitled children I've ever had to deal with. Unfortunately, we're getting to that stage now where they want to be like League of Legends players. They want all of the benefits of high salary, status, being on television. They want all of this without any of the downside, without any of the criticism. And I'm sorry, it's just not realistic. It just doesn't work like that, right? So I'm gonna definitely get into this and talk about just a few points here. So in fact, actually, I'll show you the clip that really triggered it. Let me just get it for you. I've got it to one side here. I tweeted it out and said this is legitimately a shout for worst play of 2016. And you're going to see why. Here it is, Sam. You play this. Play it with audio, though, as well. I'll shut up. Audio is very important to this argument.
Okay, hold on. 1 sec.
Spotted the Opera, forces him back inside B. But the thing is, there's 2 CTs on both sides. Smiths with the auto sniper, trying to get those shots, spamming across, but still no contact.
Oh my god, the flash actually helps Wow, just super coordinated. Looking to do some damage. Oh my god.
Yoli Noob!
Yo, not fly. He takes himself the kill. This is going to be the bomb plant. Stanislaw, though, takes down two. In a mere matter of seconds after Smith.
Out though by Stanislaw, and it's also
Where a
spotted the
high-level
opera forces
professional
him back
player
inside
has
B.
took an
But the
auto
thing is,
sniper,
there's two CTs.
which I think anybody who's played Counter-Strike knows is a gun that doesn't necessarily require a high level of skill to utilize. He's missed a bunch of easy shots with it, and the commentators have rightly criticized him as they've lost the event to an underdog. This is a vital round. This is a must-win round. An auto sniper is a big investment, and as you can see, Smiths has really let his team down. That's the facts. All right. If Smith gets 2 kills there, which should have been more than capable of doing from the position he was in, with the gun he was in, and managed to just hold off the opponents on a site, there's a chance G2 can still be in that game and make the comeback. Doesn't happen. Didn't happen. And basically, there's a callback in there. The commentators have gone, yo, les noobs. Now, why would he say that? I've had a lot of people saying, oh, when you call a pro player a noob, you're being extremely hateful. I mean, a lot of people say it's about hate. You're being extremely biased and unprofessional. Well, let me tell you why they're saying yo, les noobs, right? So here you go. This is, you can bring this up if you want also, Sam. It's a callback to something Smiths himself said. So Smith's been getting a lot of criticism. I don't think that's a secret. I'm going to show you why it's valid. But he's been getting it for a long, long time. And I know Edouard, and I like Edouard. He is a great guy. But right now, he is in an unbelievably poor slump in form. And there's no signs of him getting out of it. So instead of just taking it on the chin, he actually went on to vacarme.net, the French community site, and put this post out. I'll read it to you. Hey, noobs. There's a difference between a sniper playing for his teammates and the teammates playing for the sniper. I'm co-leading, organizing every default, our bomb site taking, nades, etc. I'm going first when it's a tough eco buy round. I'm throwing the nades when we do specific tactics. In the pistol round, I'm buying the smokes and flashes. Anyway, life is tough sometimes, but I'm getting paid very well. I don't care about having 30 frags, a 1.5 rating. I don't care about having a frag movie about me. I want to win. And you know what? I've been winning since 10 years with all of my teams. I'm not here because I'm Shock's best friend. Shock's got kicked a couple of times, and I've always followed him because I like playing with him. We see the game the same way, and we have the same work ethic. No disrespect. Today we have the best team ever, in-game and out of game. We're still a young team, but I'm proud of what we've done so far. So thanks to you who have supported me, and to the ignorant haters, eat shit. Right? So it's okay for a player to publicly go out and say, if you're criticizing me, eat shit. You're a noob. You don't understand. That's fine. It's fine for a player to be antagonistic. But it's not fine for a commentator to then use a player's words against him when he fucks up. Why is that? Why is that the double standard we've decided to settle on this week in eSports? Makes no sense to me. But apparently that's it. Now let's have a look at Smith's performance lately. And you tell me, okay, if we're being unreasonable when we criticize him. You know, maybe we are, right? Let's have a look. So I'm just going to get the link on HLTV to his match history. Please, HLTV work. There we go. Here it is for you, right? And again, I know score isn't everything. Keep in mind, he was up until recently the primary AWPer for the team. It's a big role. And you will just see a slew of negative score lines. These are negative stats. These are in big games. You know, this is him going 11 for 22 against Optic. This is him, you know, getting 12 kills against Envious. And keep going and keep going. And look how far back you have to go before you even see, you know, a significant contribution on the scoreboard. Frequently, you've got to go right back. Now, what do you want me to say about this as an analyst, right? as a commentator. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say in game when he's whiffing shots left, right, and center? I'm being told today, realistically, that what we're supposed to do as commentators is say, come on, Smiths. You can do it. Oh, he's missed those, but that's not like him. Unfortunately, it is like him. That's the point. It's become a meme because his performance has been very, very poor for a long period of time. And also, when you play in that primary sniper role, you do get a lot more attention. It's a very expensive weapon. It's a very expensive role to be failing at. Now, it's all well and good. Yes, I believe him. I believe his flashbangs are brilliant. I believe his smokes are brilliant. Whatever you want to say. But unfortunately, when you're in that role, it's kind of like being a goalkeeper and saying you're good at free kicks. Doesn't really matter if you're shit at saving shots. It's your primary job. And, I don't know what to say here. I can't believe that these are the three things that were said that triggered pro players. You saw the one clip. The other thing was Dust Moret said Smiths has got to step it up. I think we can agree he does, right? Or do we not agree that?
Most certain people do, I believe, mate.
Right? They said Smiths has been playing this tournament in ghost mode. And they said, don't drop a deagle for Smiths. It's a waste of time. Did I miss the meeting where that's unacceptable? Did I miss the meeting where that steps out of the remit of the commentator? Because the way it's been framed, and I'll show you some of these absolutely stupid tweets that I've got from pro players. They're making it out that it's like we're criticizing him outside of the game. They're saying, he gets all this hate. People say he should die. People say he should be horrible. Should stop being horrible and quit and retire and all of it. It's like, dude, like, not the talent's not saying that. If you've got a problem with fans saying it, take it up with them. Because it's definitely not us who's saying those stuff. I've said a billion times, great guy outside of the game. Love him. A lot of time for him. Always polite, always friendly, great to have a drink with. Known him many, many years. Knew him when he was part of Very Games. Their all conquering side in Source. Think he's an absolute great guy. But he's playing badly right now. So what are we supposed to talk about? I mean, we are talking about how he's playing badly. That's got to be fine. So needless to say, I mean, obviously, definitely not like Fallen or Cold Zero or these people that go on Twitter and start trying to stir up a hate mob whenever they see something they don't like. I mean, these guys are beyond reproach, right? I mean, they've never done anything bad. So here you go. You can see some of the gibberish that we had to put up with here. And you'll just see this long line. So, I mean, first of all, Cold Zero said, it's just ridiculous what casters said about Smiths. I thought casters were there to cast and entertain the public, not to ridicule people's work. Well, this is a guy who literally said when they lost the game, when Showtime was to stand in, I can't play with a player who doesn't understand the basics of CS. Right, now, which one's going to affect a player's career more? One of the best players in the world actively saying, this guy doesn't know the basics of Counter-Strike and I play with him. So therefore I know that. And he's got to leave and get a new team. Or is it going to be a commentator saying, yo, les noobs? Which one affects someone's career more potentially? It's that one, isn't it? I mean, if you think it isn't, fuck you, you're a moron. Because it's definitely option A. So I made that point. And then, of course, Fallen comes out and goes, Cold never thought it was okay and apologized to Showtime on the same day. Oh, good. It's good to see he learned his lesson, because if we rewind it back, remember when Luminosity and Team Liquid had that game and the PC accidentally got kicked out and they all blamed Hiko for not replaying a round, which he didn't have to replay. And Cold Zero called Hiko fat and said American fans suck and America, all this bullshit. And Fallen was involved in that as well. So also, let's just analyze it. Commentator saying player bad, right? I'm going to go the other way this time. Option A. Commentator saying player bad. Professional players leveraging their fan base to hate other professional players. Which one's worse? Option A or B? It's fucking B this time, isn't it? Right? You can see the pattern here. So my point is, It's definitely, if there's an argument there to be had, these are not the people who can make it, unfortunately, because it's hypocrisy. And it goes on here, and Daps wades in. Regardless of who's making the argument, he isn't wrong. So he definitely is. There is not one sport in the world where a professional player who has a bad time of things, a run of bad form, will not be ridiculed. There is not one sport in the world, not one. And if you say that there is, nonsense, absolute nonsense. I've seen it in cricket, the gentleman's game. I've seen it in tennis. I've seen it in football. It definitely happens more in football than any other game. You have entire sections dedicated to mocking bad play in the NFL and the NBA. These are facts. So there's no cohesive argument as to why this shouldn't be happening and why it's bad. You can see here, look, Daps goes on. If you just scroll down a little bit more, Sam, he goes, I really dislike it when casters or talent who normally would never be edgy are just doing it because Thorin did it. Good assumption. Yeah, good assumption, right? Fucking Daps, a.k.a. Megamind. I know your motivations. Like, fuck you, get your own Marvel movie with that fucking superpower, you daft cunt. What are you talking about? How does he know? And that's what I mean. It's just like, okay, you haven't got an argument. Because there is no argument. And then Fallen comes back and goes, oh, it's not only him. People are feeding hate, and that can go too far sometimes, as it is with Smith now. I am not responsible for anything any fan does. I am not. I'm sorry. I'm not taking that responsibility. I don't have kids. Fans are not my bastard children that I have to somehow care for. They are responsible for their own actions. They are adults. They are responsible for their own actions. And I've made that point. I said, if we follow that logic, remember when Cloud9 were at Northern Arena and Fallen was tweeting, pussies, only pussies do what they have to win at all costs and all this nonsense, stirring up hate against Cloud9 to the point where they have to take an unfavorable admin decision to avoid getting absolutely destroyed by fans. And I'm like, so if we follow that logic, you're responsible for that. And then Fallen goes, yeah, I kind of am, but I'm also kind of not. Well, all right, brilliant. Guess you're just having it both ways then, aren't you? So I do not understand how pros really want to have their cake and eat it here. I literally do not understand it. Because let's say you were on a broadcast. And let's say somebody said, I'll tell you what, right? He's an ugly bastard. He's an ugly bastard. I bet he's never got laid. Bet he's a virgin. Right? If I heard that on a broadcast, I'd say, fucking hell. You got a point, players. That's outrageous. That's outrageous. Saying, don't drop Smiths a gun because he can't hit a cow's arse with a banjo is not the same. That is valid. That is within the remit. And I'm getting sick and tired of players thinking that it's okay to, it's okay for them to stir up hate towards journalists. How many times has a player lied about a report? How many, like a roster move? I am not going to that team. This guy is just lying. How many times have they done that? Probably countless amounts of times, right? And every time you do that, your fan base goes after the journalist. Are you taking responsibility for that? No, absolutely not. Of course you're not. Of course you're not. And it's just incredible. Like, there's a subtle distinction. We are paid to talk about the game and all of its facets. We owe the fans the service of not sugarcoating it and telling them the truth. We owe that to them. Because honestly, you devalue a sport if you pretend that everyone is the best. It makes being the best meaningless. And I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to sit there and go, it could have done better, but he's such a great pro, had a great career. Start talking about the past, trying to contextualize how shit he is now. It makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. And people are telling me that I should. I've had people message me today. Keep in mind, I've had about what? I'd probably say about 500 to 600 Twitter messages telling me how I'm a piece of shit for something I didn't do. That's how fucking retarded these people are. I've had people messaging me going, it is the job of the commentator to help the players get better and encourage them.
Well, I'm not their coach, mate.
Definitely isn't. Definitely isn't. So I don't understand it. Now, here's the thing. This is where it gets interesting. So keep in mind, right, that, oh, hey, yeah, you're stirring up hate, Richard, when you don't say the things that somebody else said. It's definitely you. We're going to have a thread all about you, right? I mean, look, right? When they come out and attack me, when players come out and attack me, what do I have to deal with? What do you think I have to deal with? You'll never see me blame a player for the actions of fans. But let's just have a look, right? Let's just have a look. So Fallen and Cold Zero going after me, right? Well, what do I have to get? Here's a good comment. This was from BR Fanbase. I wonder if he's a Brazilian fan. Richard Lewis is mentally ill and an alcoholic, and this could be the reason for him tweeting this.
Half true.
Yeah. I didn't say he was wrong, did I, Sam? Not in that opening sentence, anyway. Anyway, he should not be allowed to work in public because of his instability. It is dangerous. He even once tried to choke to death some pro player, but security saved the dude in the last moments before permanent health damage happened.
Dragging Lauder away with his feet. We just saved him. Get me a medic.
Right? Could have happened.
If it did happen, it would have been a good reason for the uproar. If it had happened, then everyone could have raged.
And let's just go into that thread. Let's just go into that thread. Here it is. So this is Fallen, his original tweet, which of course it was saying, it's only me who thinks it's extremely disrespectful to see casters tournament jokes making fun of players' abilities during tournaments. The amount of things this guy's accomplished in Counter-Strike is insane. But yeah, let's keep having fun shitting on other people. Assholes. All right, Fallen, let me tell you I'll give you another lesson in hypocrisy, okay? Because I think you need a few. You have just called the commentators that have said these bad, terrible things about Smiths, all related to his game ability, of course. You've just called them assholes. How is that better? Do you know what? It's actually worse because you're criticizing their personalities. You are criticizing them as human beings. At least they were talking about Smith's ability in game, which is empirically measurably shit right now. At the pro level, he is behind a lot of pros. It's just a fucking fact. Why do we have to sugarcoat this? So it's okay to call commentators assholes, but it's bad for commentators to say players are bad at a game when they're playing bad. Right? Imagine having that, just complete lack of self-awareness. So let's go through, right? Let's go through and let's just see some of the comments, right? This is one of the times, I have to say, Richard Lewis is just being stupid with his responses. Now, I think I'm being completely logical because what I'm saying is it definitely can't be you who make that point because you've made this transgression a bunch of times. And I think that's important. It would be like me coming out and saying violence is never okay when there's a very public instance of me having defended myself. When Cold Zero acts more mature on Twitter than Richard Lewis. Right, that's the guy who called a young guy a faggot recently. And I defended him over that, saying we can all have outbursts on social media, right? But I'm the bad guy. I'm immature, of course. And keep in mind, I feel like I need to keep saying this. I didn't do any of these things. I was not at the event. I didn't say Smiths was bad. I wasn't in the game. I didn't commentate. I don't commentate for a living. I'm a host. I say to people, what's your opinion? I very rarely express my own. How can I be public enemy number one on this? Think about it. It beggars belief. This is just the proof that you need about hive mind and circle jerks and mob mentality. It's absolute gibberish. And there you go. Sorry, I don't get it. What specific moments did Richard have? And everyone's like, oh, he's referring to the Richard Lewis load of Dota Pro drama, blah, blah, blah. He strangled some dude while on the job. Didn't happen. Let me guess. Being abusive towards fans, coming from Richard Lewis of all people. Don't think I've been really abusive. Certainly haven't called anyone a faggot for criticizing my job. Definitely haven't done that. But okay, that's fine. Richard Lewis is always like this. I enjoy his content. Oh, very nice of you to enjoy it. But keep in mind that he is not the good he's not the good, reasonable, logical guy he makes out to be in his videos. I'm operating from a complete point of logic here.
I by power symbol, of course. No reason to be tricking.
Yeah. Right.
No bias there.
Also, I have watched Richard play. And him talking about how some of the greatest coaches who never played the sports, that is technically true, but that is not the case with Lewis or his buddy Thorin. Reasonable. And that's the other pathetic argument, isn't it, right? That, like, if you've never played at the highest level, you can't criticize players. First of all, I was old when this game came out. I would never have had the opportunity to have played at the highest level. I was old when Source came out. How could I? It's like saying, well, you never played in the NBA with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah, I didn't. Wasn't born. What the fuck? What do you want me to do? Get out the time machine, lads. I've got to prove myself. What's that about? That's so stupid. Respect for what? Attacking and choking a player? His insulting view of everyone and everything? Being drunk and aggressive on stream? I mean, all of these things happen. Being clueless but pretend he has an idea? Lying to get views?
When's that ever happened?
Yeah. Just compare how R. Lewis is on E-League and his YouTube show compared to social media. Completely different people. Definitely not. I couldn't. Definitely not. On social media, he is nothing but disrespectful and rude to his so-called fans. No, I'm definitely not rude to my fans. I'm rude to plebs who think they have a right to be able to tweet at me, tweet their inane fucking opinions. And when I say, can you please stop now because you have tweeted at me 8 times and I don't agree with what you're saying, then I block them for being stupid. And then they say, he's blocked me. He can't take it because I'm right. No, I just don't want to read your drivel. I just don't want to read your drivel. It's drivel. Everyone gets 1 or 2. You're allowed to tweet your drivel at me. That's what Twitter's for. But there comes a point where when you cannot accept that you are just boring me to fucking tears, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to block you. Right? He presents himself as a very approachable person. He'll probably choke you out, though. Of course.
So be careful.
Yeah, known for doing that. No, I just choke everyone out, guys. I just hate R. Lewis. I don't know why these casters make fun of anyone. They're the rejects that were never good enough to go pro, so they settled on casting. I mean, again, definitely not true. Definitely not true. A lot of commentators, either were pro or were never pro or never attempted to be pro. When did Anders attempt to be pro? When did Semler attempt to be pro? When did DDK attempt to be pro? When did Bardolph attempt to be pro? When did Sadikist attempt to be pro? I mean, that's 5 of the top 6 casters we've got right there. None of them attempted to be pro. So what is that? What is that comment? You would literally have to be mentally ill to think that. So, reasonable. It says, hang on, there's more, of course. Daps fucked Richard Lewis. Why? By saying, I was shit, and people used to criticize me, and it hurt my feelings. This was Daps' whole argument. When I was playing bad, and people criticized me, I didn't like it. Could you be biased in this argument, perhaps? And this is what I mean. People say it like I don't get hate every fucking day of my life. People say it that like I didn't have to leave my house because League of Legends moderators spread lies about me. People say it like my girlfriend wasn't being threatened with rape threats. I get death threats every day. I've had them today. I get people just a few days ago. I hope you die of a stroke. I mean, literally, that happened. I mean, fine. I've got it here. I've got it.
Not only does he want you to die, but he wants you to die with a half-working face as well.
Yeah.
Ultimate insult. I want you to die like Popeye.
Hey, there you go. Bring that up. Right? It's just an example. This is over nothing as well, by the way. I think this was back when I said Thorin is right to criticize Skadoodle. Once again, I've never done any of the criticism myself, you understand. I haven't criticized any of these players publicly, right? But I'm the problem. It always comes back to me being the problem. I don't even understand why. People just fixate on me, right? It's like I'm a magnet that attracts mentally ill people. It's incredible. Just, so this guy thinks it's reasonable to tell me to die of a stroke because I said Skadoodle's in a bad run of form. Again, perfectly reasonable thing to say. The responses, though, aren't reasonable. But then, do you know what people say? They go, you're holding players, you're holding fans to professional standards. And that's a very interesting point as well, because the fans want the right to criticize players non-stop. The fans want the right to criticize players, but we can't, even though it's our job. We've got more right than you. We're paid to do that. So, just ridiculous. I think it goes on. Let me see. Let me find. There's some more belters in this thread. Come on. Let's find. Fine. Come on, I know they're here. Right, there isn't enough space on this comment chain for all the people that RL blocked after making reasonable arguments simply for disagreeing with him. Right, let me tell you about some of the reasonable arguments that I've had. This is bullying. How's that a reasonable argument? How is that a reasonable argument? It's not bullying. Do you know what bullying is?
Repeat.
Right, I mean,
right? Basically.
Yeah, look. I'm going to read you a bullying definition from Stop Bullying, an anti-bullying charity. Bullying is unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time. Both kids who are bullied and who bully others may have serious lasting problems. In order to be considered bullying, the behavior must be aggressive and include an imbalance of power. Kids who bully use their power, such as physical strength, access to embarrassing information, or popularity, to control or harm others. Power imbalances can change over time and in different situations, even if they involve the same people. It also must include repetition. Bullying behaviors happen more than once or have the potential to happen more than once. Bullying includes actions such as making threats, spreading rumors, attacking someone physically or verbally, and excluding someone from a group on purpose. Does that sound like what's going on here?
Nah.
No, definitely not. And even if it was, let's talk about that perceived power imbalance. How then, if popularity is one of the tools I can use as a bully, then how do I ever bully players who all have bigger followings than me and a bigger voice than me and a bigger megaphone than me? How is it? How can I possibly bully them? In fact, these threads on Reddit are a direct result of players arguing with me about my reasonable position that I do not consider this bullying or outside of the remit of what commentators do. Again, I stress, didn't do it myself. Unbelievable. Here's another good one. You'll like this. I'll give you the link to this directly. Okay. This is all from one thread, by the way. This is a thread with 1,100 comments. So let me just read this one for you. This is quality. Richard Lewis is a guy I would pay a gang to beat the shit out of. I don't know how guys like these thrive in the CSGO scene. In Dota, casters and talent have an extremely amicable relationship with the pros. There is plenty of criticism, but no instances of blatant ridicule and mockery. Even Thorin comes off as obnoxious sometimes. R. Lewis also had an episode of trying to choke Dota, blah, blah, blah. I wonder why Gabe allows these brutes even near CSGO majors while he fires people like Too Good for just cracking adult jokes. So again, Keep in mind, I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. This discussion is not about me at all. Let's hire a gang to beat the shit out of him. Also, as well, cognitive dissonance, of course. I would pay somebody to beat him up because I disapprove of him defending himself from somebody who was trying to beat him up. And violence is wrong. I hate brutes. By the way, I would like to employ a gang of brutes to beat Richard Lewis up. Okay. Let's do it again. One of the serial mentally ill people who has stalked me for years is a guy called Third Street Zero. It goes back to StarCraft when I first started hosting StarCraft events. This guy was there saying, you know, he knows nothing about the game. He can't be a host of this game. Blah, blah, blah. He's just followed me to every game to talk about it. He made a thread about how my accent changed. Yeah, guess what? I changed my accent for American TV so people could understand me.
Why would he bother making a thread about that?
Literally made a thread about it saying it was something like, is changing your accent a sign of mental illness or something? It was like, obviously this guy definitely not mentally ill, right? Let me see if I can find it. Actually, I mean, he makes a lot of threads. He just doesn't have a lot going on. You know, in
the life area.
yeah, he just doesn't have a lot going on. It's a bit of a shame. But I've got oh here it is. Accent changing. Now, I can take this link and put it into archive and reverse engineer it. So let me just show you how this guy spends his time. Accent changing, ask UK. Oh, shit, I don't think we got it in time. Well, anyway, this is the thread. And in it, he basically said, is it a sign of mental illness or whatever? If I change my accent. In other words, if I have a broadcasting accent while I'm on broadcast, loads of people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're kind of a creep. You're a loser. Blah, blah, blah. You know, he's faking his accent. Just crazy fucking shit. So obviously, I mean, you know, this obviously this guy's a reasonable human being, right? So let's see what he's got to say. He's replying to this comment. The whole banter and constant ridicule element of esports really just puts me off the whole thing. Now, keep in mind as well, this idea it's constant ridicule. It's not true at all. We definitely do not constantly ridicule players. In fact, I got a lot of tweets today saying, all you do is tear people down. Last two columns I printed were actually bigging up young talent, saying Stewie's one of the greatest, Stewie 2K is one of the greatest stories in Counter-Strike history, and Disco Doplin's going to be great for Fnatic. So I definitely do promote and praise players when they deserve it, and I criticize them when they deserve that too. I come from football or soccer, where their major broadcasters are people like Sky, BT Sport, and the BBC. I'm not expecting these broadcasts to be held in the same standard, but I expect professionalism when I watch. If I'm brutally honest, I can never see CS evolving from the audience it has now until it grows out of the man-child phase of commentary, punditry, and general atmosphere. We actually are emulating mainstream American sports. On E-League, we have a section sponsored by Snickers. You're not you when you're hungry, and it shows players making fails. I guess we'll have to get rid of that now. And that's very similar to what they do inside the NBA. Shaq Dinner Fool, and you know,
is the NF1 a cold one again?
Yeah. So, and they do. I can't remember the NFL one. Anyway, so let's read this thing here. Third Street Zero, the legend. Absolutely. I quit watching tournaments because the casting is degraded to the most basic banter bullshit that has become embarrassing. I would have loved to have shown my family and friends E-League, but there's no way I'll do it with Lewis employed. I don't even commentate. I sit there and just point at people. There's no room for me to have banter. He continues, I think Dazed is incredible. So let's look at the moral compass here. Man who was actively involved in match fixing, good. Me, I'm the cancer of esports. Man who exposed many dishonest things going on in esports to protect esports from itself. Not sound. I think Dace is incredible, and it's nice to have an American casting. Not sure when people will realize that anywhere Richard Lewis and friends go, things turn to shit. Not much we can do about that aside from simply not watching, which is what I'm doing. I'd much prefer to turn on a tournament and have civilized people speaking intelligently about the games. At the moment, I can't count on that, and it's kind of pathetic. So, I mean, apparently as well, what we do is low-effort garbage. Definitely isn't. So honestly, I could go on. I mean, now here's the other interesting thing. People don't mind when other commentators or ex-players do it. If you go back to when Fifth Lauren was basically hounded out of NIP, he was basically hounded out of NIP, particularly by Lurpis. HLTV just became a receptacle to just say how bad he was. That was all fair game, apparently. Nobody had a problem with that. And all the fans actually got on board with it and actively used to throw hate at Fifth Lauren all the time. 9 for 44, never forget. Doesn't matter that he, won a major. Everyone was just saying this is the guy that, this is the guy that everybody loved to fucking hate and just piled on all the time until he retired. And then as soon as he retired, I'm gonna miss Fifth Lauren. And that's the madness. It's collective insanity, unfortunately. So here's the thing. Let's go to the front page of the CS:GO subreddit, right? Because obviously this is a big deal. Look. Another thread. Roasting pro players for laughs is not the same as analysis criticism. I don't believe anyone said it is. As a massive football hockey fan, I am more than familiar with analysts breaking down poor performance. It is the job of an analyst to analyze. What we're seeing in CSGO lately, in my opinion, is not professional analysis. It is unnecessary jabs being taken at certain players based on popular opinion. Well, no, it definitely isn't. And keep in mind, all that happened there was somebody said, yo, les noobs. That's it. A meme Smith himself started. And there's a huge debate in this about, again, how we're all evil and Richard Lewis is evil and Thorin is evil, even though we didn't do anything, even though it's nothing to do with us. All we did was give an opinion saying that players are too sensitive. Definitely didn't prove us right, did they? Then we've got Taz on Twitter. Taz saying, without knowledge and experience, all commentators can say is interesting. There's too much focus on bad, too small on good parts. And then it's like, this is so spot on. All these casters right now are trying to stay at the top of the food chain for the next big tournament by appealing to Twitch chat. Got some news for you, Splash ZXC, my genius friend. If you think anyone is hired for a job because of Twitch chat, you are so fucking divorced from reality, you're in outer fucking space, mate. You're off your chops. You are out of your mind.
All the cops, he's off his fucking chops.
Yep, he's off his chops, mate. Dave's come. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. No one does anything to appeal to Twitch chat. Nobody, right? And of course, we get brought up again in this. And it's like I have to keep saying it. We aren't commentators anyway. I'm not a commentator. People like Thorin and Richard Lewis are extremely hypocritical. They'll trash players all day and claim that players shouldn't be so sensitive about it. But there have been multiple times that someone has trashed one of their articles, and instead of taking their own advice, they went on a Twitter tirade. I mean, no evidence supplied for this. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. They just block you on Twitter. Yeah, right, I do.
Why don't players do that as well?
Yeah, why don't players just do that? And then someone underneath goes, what are you talking about? Thorin and Richard Lewis are perfect human beings. This sub. Right, okay. Well,
I mean, we just proved it isn't, is it?
Have you opened your eyes lately? That even when we don't do something, we're criticized for it somehow coming back to us. All roads lead back to us. So that's the other thread that we're getting hated. So that's what, like three threads right now that we're just getting wrecked in. Then there's another thread. Who here actually enjoys edgy, savage casters and analysts? Right? What do people like? Yanko and Daze types or Thorin and RL types? So you literally compare totally different people with different styles where we would deliberately have a blend. I'm not an analyst anyway. I very rarely work as one these days. Host is my primary role. And look at this. I'm creating this thread in order to survey the community. No one gives a fuck, mate, by the way. Just telling you this, Jin 555555. No one gives a fuck about your survey. Like, your survey is
your
way
fives.
Time. All your
You little rats. Take your fives and fuck off.
Literally, no one gives a fuck about anything you find here. What you mean is, I am trying to get some front page attention by jumping in on something that has absolutely got fuck all to do with anything. I'm creating this thread in order to survey the community and find out whether people really enjoy this sort of behavior. I know it makes everyone in Twitch chat go, lol. There's your answer then, you fucking idiot. Whenever Thorin makes a savage comment, or whenever Richard Lewis tries and usually fails at doing the same thing. When do I have the opportunity on a broadcast to do that? When do I try and fail to make an edgy comment? It's just not within my remit as a fucking broadcaster now. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, just absolute fucking nonsense, of course. Now, let's have some hypocrisy. Let's have a bit of hypocrisy, shall we? We all love hypocrisy. Classic hypocrisy. So Steele made a joke about, is Richard Lewis must be playing for FaZe because they're choking so hard. And I definitely never heard that one before.
Not a good one.
Right? Upvoted to the front page. And everyone's saying, ha ha, that was just savage. Ha ha ha, beautifully executed. Ha 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 ha. These edgy jokes, we love these. Ha 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 ha. Right? Love that, right? That's okay, isn't it? So, which one is it, guys? Are we making fun of people, or are we not? Which one's right and which one's wrong? You know, do you feel, for example, that I, after 12 years in the industry,
that would have been so crucial if you look
might want to be remembered for something other than an act of self-defense from somebody who was literally trying to fucking fight me?
Because Renegade is choking real hard right now.
You know, do you think I might want to be remembered for some of the good things that I've done in esports? Championing player rights, getting players paid, exposing match fixing, exposing financial corruption. A player who was threatened by a manager in League of Legends, you know, getting him out of an unsafe environment. Do you think I might want some of that to be remembered? What about when players weren't getting paid by ESL many, many years ago, and I was helping write letters and emails and applying pressure to get them their prize money? Do you think maybe these are the sorts of things I'd like to, you know, oh, no, but it's Richard Lewis. I mean, fuck him, right? You know, definitely fuck that guy. So here's the thing. I have to suck it up. I got to suck it up, and I do suck it up. I'll take it. You'll never find me fucking... You'll never find me crying about anything of this nature. You're entitled to your opinion. But I just think it's especially ironic because I remember when I wanted Steele to come on the show. I wanted Steele to come on the show and do a long interview. And he said he didn't want to. And you know why he said he didn't want to come on the show? He said he didn't want to come on the show because he doesn't want to keep talking about match fixing. He doesn't want to be remembered for the one bad thing he did. And then he goes and makes that joke. Hypocrisy. People can't help themselves. People can't help themselves. And this is what I mean. I don't understand. I can't understand why it's okay for one and not for the other. I thought Launders weighed in. So, Launders kind of says something, vaguely sensible here. He put a twit longer out. And this is the other thing that'll happen, by the way. No disrespect to Launders, but of course, everyone will have to chime in with their 2 cents now. Everyone will have to chime in with their 2 cents.
It's a free front page spot, mate. It's
free front page, it's free relevance. It's free relevance. And he said there are obviously good arguments on both sides, especially when drawing parallels to traditional sports. But I think it comes down to whether or not you agree that there is merit to the opinion of someone who hasn't accomplished anything in CS. As an analyst, I personally only care for the in-game analysis of former pros and appreciate other analysts for different reasons. I think it's important to note there is more to a desk than just pure in-game analysis. Even though I only played for a short amount of time in relation to a lot of top players, I still always consider that I didn't make invite in that time. I take a how's your jump shot approach to analysis for this reason, and always try to rationalize decisions as well as consider that I might be missing something when I make a criticism. The main issue, I think, for many pros is just where's the line, and I believe they feel it's being crossed. I didn't think that they're wrong to feel that way, but it's true that a broadcast is not supposed to be completely dry and purely analytical. It's entertainment, and the only reason both ourselves and the pros have a job playing and talking about a video game. I think there are people out there that want to believe that their favorite player would have the ability to have their job without broadcast talent content creators, but they're living in a dream world. If some criticism is allowed, then it gets really sketchy trying to argue when people have gone too far, especially when they take what could be perfectly valid point and make it just a little more edgy for the audience. So I 100% agree that it's important to have a thick skin when you're in the public eye, but I personally just like to remember that Smith has a 0.7 in invite and would trash just about 100% of people that criticize him when it comes to fragging, positioning, or game knowledge in and out of the server. So, I mean, I generally agree with most of that. I think that's a fair summary of the
I
situation.
hate when people make that argument at the end, though. Like, yeah, you can't criticize him. He's better than all of the people watching. Well, of fucking course he is, man. That's what his job is to play the game. That doesn't mean I can't tell he's shit when he's missing a clip of Auto Sniper. Just because I haven't played S fucking tier in ESE doesn't mean that he isn't dog right now. I don't get where the parallel is.
And no, but you got to understand it's about the level as well, though. It's all about your level, the relevance to the level. It's context again that people miss out. It's context again. He's playing at a professional level, in professional games, in professional tournaments. There is a certain understanding. There is a certain understanding that has to come with the level of criticism. We're not saying you could replace him with an LEM and it would be just the same. I'm not saying that. I don't believe
no one's
that.
saying that. Nobody's that retarded.
Well, actually, no. Fortunately, yeah. Reddit people.
To be honest, put me in that position with the Auto Sniper. Money better get 1 kill, dog. Put a grand on it right now, Smiths. We'll replay it. If I get killed, you owe me a grand.
Right. But this is the point, right? Like I am not saying that. I'm saying he's right at the professional level. He is at the bottom end, and that's the key thing. You have to understand that when there's a player like this in lots of teams. There's the weak link in the chain. When you perform badly for a consistent amount of time, I didn't criticize Smiths when he had his first bad game, his second bad game, his 10th bad game. But we're now into the 80th, the 90th. When does it end? When does it become okay to criticize him? If anything, it's gone backwards. Apparently, the more likely it is to hurt his feelings, i.e., the more true it is, the less right you have to do it. And that's nonsense. I can't sign off on that. Now, just as another aside, you got to love shit like this. So, in that TAS thread, I mean, fans just make shit up. They just literally pluck shit out of their head and just make shit up. Look at this. Look at this. So, TAS hates Blue too. And Blue's like, do you want to back that statement up? And he goes, well, at the top casters, most people would say you lack knowledge or experience, which is fine for a play-by-play. But it annoys people when you try and do analytical stuff when they can see what was intended for a play, but the caster, you can't. But what's that got to do with what you said? TAS, do you know?
Sam probably just hates you, man.
Yeah. I think, in my mind, I think you just hate Blue, dude. I think you just hate Blue.
Why has he brought TAS into it as well?
And that's what they do. Like, fans try and show solidarity, and Blue didn't do anything either. It wasn't Blue that said this shit. And then you can see just someone else chimes in. You're the worst caster out there, not going to lie. Brilliant. We're talking about that now. We're talking about casting ability. So again, understand, even in a thread where we're saying you can't criticize players' ability, people come in, and it's how fucking mentally ill they are. People come in and go, yeah, you're shit at your job, though. We're just talking about how it's bad to say that. Did we miss the what's going on? What is going on? So on this issue, and I've actually got to go, so we're not going to talk about anything else. This is just going to be ranting about this. This is all you're going to get. Shut it down. Right? But I'll draw attention to Metas. Now, Metas is an up-and-coming caster. I've seen many threads on the front page of Reddit where everyone's talking about how great Metas is, right? And what a wonderful guy and how hard he's worked. And you can see he's put a video up saying deal with it, saying that if you're in the public eye, you got to put up with, sometimes even excessive critique. And it's just what happens. He gets attacked. He even talks about examples, saying you've got Carragher and Neville and Hansen and Shearer just ripping into you on Match of the Day if you're a fucking football player. And he absolutely fucking burns them. And people are criticizing Metas for trying to be edgy. Right? Because he says there would be a lot of tears if you had to put up with what soccer players have to put up with. And then people are like, no, but the difference is Shearer and Neville played professional football, whereas Thorin and R. Lewis have no meaningful achievements to their name. Why is it still us? Why are we the two that get talked about? What have I got to do with any of this? Didn't work the event, don't even have the job that the person who did say the things that I am literally not in the room here, but yeah, they are the worst offenders. On it goes.
I like on the title as well for the Smiths clip on the Reddit is Smiths letting Optic win, and then like, oh, these bloody casters are so mean.
Yeah, hypocrisy, of course. Hypocrisy. You can see here, look as well. There's a guy called Adakar in there. Like, he goes, for me. Yeah, liberal dose of opinion. Your opinion doesn't matter. Liberal dose of opinion. For me, Thorin and Lewis is the main offenders. They're the main offenders. And what? Right? We're definitely not this, because we don't commentate. You see, people love Sponge, Daze, Steele, Sean Gares, Fifi when they are on. Wonder why that is. They add value to the conversation. They offer insight, reasoning behind their argument. Yeah, we definitely don't do that. I've never given a logical, rational argument for anything I've ever said on broadcast. Duncan doesn't either. We just pull shit out of our minds.
As if they've brought Sponge. Does anyone watch when he casts on his channel? He just says, look at that dog shit, can't miss in a full clip. Funny then.
Yeah, because it keeps it fucking real.
It is funny, like, but apparently it's not when anyone else does it.
Right. So, let's compare Thorin to Daze just to take extremes. Thorin, Scar is a killer clown. He said that on Twitter, not on a broadcast. So apparently...
Good start.
Right? Dazed. Scar will continue to hold the same angle and hope next time it will work, so he needs a strong in-game leader to put him where he can succeed. Did he say that on a broadcast by any chance? You're comparing apples and oranges, you fucking moron. You are a moron. You are comparing something to something completely different and trying to draw parallels. You are a fucking moron. This is why... How can I take that opinion seriously? This is what Thorin said on Twitter. This is what Day said on a broadcast. Am I a moron? Yes, you are a moron. Sorry. And like I say, again, so even in a thread that's got nothing to do with anything to do with us, right? It's unreal. So it comes down as well. Check this out, right? Thorin's behavior is, in my opinion, borderline bullying. Which part? We definitely don't have anything even close to this on E-League. Yeah? And again, it's just non-stop conversation about how I'm not entitled to an opinion about Counter-Strike because I never was a pro player. I coached. I ran an organization. I was a manager. I did play, yes, at an amateur level. But as I said, I was very old when even Source came out. You know, I think when Source came out, I was like 24. So my best years were already behind me. You know what I mean? I've been a journalist, brought roster moves. You know, helped players with contracts. Apparently, none of this counts. The only thing that counts is the global offensive. And even if I was, that wouldn't count either, right? Doesn't matter, right? None of it matters. He cannot have. And then people are saying it's immoral behavior. He's behaving immorally. And then this is a good one. Again, Third Street Zero, not mentally ill. Not mentally ill, doesn't have a problem.
He's on every thread.
Yeah, this is how he spent his fucking day. Right on, you're describing the difference between trained professional adults and mediocre, nepotism-fueled, adolescent entitled pricks. Right? It's completely okay to say Smith needs to step up. That's literally what Dus Moret said, by the way. Literally what he said. If you watch the clip, he goes, Smith needs to step it up. It's good to see his team is willing to work with him, but I can imagine they'll have a talk after this game. And another thing to come out and say, why even play with this noob? Which no one said. Which no one said. Which literally no one said.
What a fucking... Oh my god, man. One requires half a brain, the other half is a reflection of Twitch. No, the other half is Twitch sharp.
Do you know what requires half a brain? Attributing quotes correctly, you fucking cretin. You absolute cretin. So, and again, let me find this bit. Right, so here you go. Dear Metas. So I love it when people write letters, you know, like Dear Metas. Right? This guy says the problem was how the casters criticized Smiths, and the majority of people found it disrespectful. I don't care how bad a pro player plays, you should always have respect. Your main argument was that pro players should be able to deal with it because they make money off a hobby. And in this case, I think Smiths deals with it very well. Yeah, like when he wrote that forum post telling everyone to eat shit. That was good. That wasn't antagonistic, was it? Smiths is an angel. He would never criticize anybody for criticizing him. It was the community and a few of the pros which had nothing to do with the match at all. Just take an example, all the shit your caster colleague Pansy got from the communities. I think that you guys can block it off very well, just like Smiths. But deep down, you know that it's disrespectful and that it should not be happening. Well, yeah, but where's our pity party? Where's Pansy's pity party? If you try to make a thread on Reddit right now saying it's unbelievable the amount of hate Pansy gets, it'll be downvoted. No one would give a fuck. They would say, suck it up. She knows what industry she works in. Suck it the fuck up. That's what you get told. I've seen it. She shouldn't be so bad at casting. And then we wouldn't criticize her. This is the average type of comment that you get. So, and then, just more lies. Sportscasters never bash players.
You are lying.
Never. They never do it. They might be subtle talk. Right. Robbie Savage went on about how John Terry was awful. Every Chelsea game he commented on for months. He said it in papers. He said it on Twitter. He said it on broadcasts. John Terry even had to come out and say, I'll take criticism from Carragher. I'll take criticism from Shearer. I won't take it from Robbie Savage. Right? So, I don't know what to tell you. It does happen in sports. If you think it doesn't, you're fucked. You're fucked in the face. You are literally fucked in the face. There's just nothing I can do about it. You're ill. You're ill because the facts are out there. So there you have it, man. I'm gonna obviously, I'm gonna obviously bail out on this one, and maybe we come back later and do some more. And I think this is interesting as well because the players are almost trying to utilize the fans to act as a shield to protect them from the evil commentators. Well, don't think that they necessarily respect you either. There was an interview with Stewie 2K who just said you could win 3 majors in a row, but as soon as you lose your first match, you're going to get backlash. Actually shows a wisdom and maturity beyond his years. It's almost as if that's just the nature of fandom. Fandom, which is a word, fan, is derived from fanatic. It's almost as if people aren't necessarily reasonable or rational. One final point, just to wrap this video up. There was one thing that was responsible. For more criticism aimed at players, right? There was one thing that's more responsible for players getting criticism than anything else, right? And that was skins betting. Because people were suddenly invested in the games in a way they never were before. So if there was a result that went against you and you lost skins, people used to get on Twitter all day. And every player I talked to said skins are one of the worst things to happen to the game in terms of my mental sanity. Every time we lose a game, you threw for skins. Oh, my skins. Fuck you. I hope you die. You cost me $40, which is a lot of money to me because I'm an idiot. Right? So they hated it. Did it stop any of them taking these huge, lucrative sponsorship deals with skins betting companies, even though it was a contributing factor to more hate and criticism than anything else? Did it stop them? Nah. Because you can cry yourself to fucking sleep with money, right? Now, the idea that you're going to get together and threaten to boycott events if criticism is allowed is absolutely pathetic. It's pathetic. I lost a lot of respect for a lot of pros, honestly. Because you can't have it both ways. You can't have immunity from criticism. You can't have people pretend and gloss over your own inadequacies. It's not how it works. It doesn't work like that in any sport. So, there we go. Anyway, I got work to do, so I'm going to wrap up the show here. I'm going to get back to my safe space. right, with the pro players. We might be doing a bit later on. I think me and Sam are going to record some videos. I got to go away and have a meeting. But thanks for tuning in to the Richard Lewis Daily Show. Thanks to all the people who gave donations and subs and all of that. Obviously, that's great. That all goes to Sam to keep him in food.
Nice.
Keeps him in pies. That's what we need.
Donate grands, boys.
So, but honestly, guys, if you're the type of person who thinks a pro player should be immune to criticism, if you think it's bullying, don't support my work. Just don't. Get away from my stream. Get away from my videos. Don't tweet at me. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that because I've fought for the longest time to keep esports real, to keep it authentic, and now all of a sudden we're being told don't be like other sports because other sports are bad, other sports are evil. Why should pros have to suck it up? Why and why should they get criticized when they play bad? Well, turns out everyone else in every other public-facing industry is rife for criticism, from actors to journalists to commentators to broadcasters, everybody. So if you think that, we've got nothing in common. I don't want to have anything to do with you. What I want is to have a world where people can critique others, sometimes in entertaining ways. And hopefully we can utilize that to improve the overall experience for the fan and people in esports. It doesn't detract from it. It never will. It never has. And just because a few fucking popular players are coming out and crying about it, if you're going to do a 180 and your opinion suddenly changes, fuck you. So there we go. Right. Time to go and have a meeting. Thanks a lot for tuning in, as I said. Thanks a lot to Sam for producing the show. Thanks to all the lunatics that contributed on Reddit. Love you. Wouldn't have a show without your fucking unreasonable babble. And we will see you tomorrow at the same time.